your name, but you got me begging. All I know about you like to pick and choose, make it all about you. Go take it all if you want. Taking the chance, stuck in my head, not gonna leave it at that. Taking the lead, feeling your heat, just wanna give you my best. I don't even know your name, but you got me, 'cause you're all to die. We don't know what happens next, but you got me, 'cause I'm next in line. You make it look so easy, making me feel so dreamy. Not the one who pays for drinks, but you got me, 'cause you're all to die. Got me locked in now. Go ahead and take a shot. Do you really want me? Maybe you're just playing. The way you're making it move, yeah, you do it so smooth. Make it all about you. Can have it all if you want. Taking the chance, stuck in my head, not gonna leave it at that. Taking the lead, feeling your heat, just want.
Hi, this is Gaylon McDowell, and I am excited about this new venture that I am on today, which is the meta behind relationships. Now, it has a longer title, but that's going to be the short title that I'm going to use when I talk about this particular podcast. So, the meta behind relationships, this is the first episode or the first podcast on the 5F's to Love Network. I'm looking forward to helping people utilize metaphysics to help them create healthy and harmonious relationships. Joining me today on my very first podcast on the 5F's for Love Network is the CEO and founder, Christine Burkett. Christine, are you there?
Hey, Gaylon. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. I just want to say I talk about you all the time. And I don't want to make it seem like you're my genie in a bottle, but I always tell people Gaylon is the guy. He's the guru of metaphysics. He speaks globally all over the world. And last night we premiered your show. And I'm going to say we got so much feedback. My girlfriends were getting text messages about everybody's looking forward to hearing from this guy, Gaylon. So Gaylon, I just want to say I'm so excited. Thank you for joining the 5F's to Love Network and helping people understand how they can use metaphysics in their relationship to gain a positive perspective, not only in relationships, but in themselves. So I just want to thank you for that. You are amazing. And folks, I'm going to tell you right now, I know you guys are watching right now. This is a pre-recorded show, but please leave comments, all of your comments that you share, and please like the show. When you watch the broadcast tonight from 8 p.m. to 9 p.m., we will definitely get back to you. Gaylon is very quick about that. And if there's something that you need him to respond to, please leave it in comments. And I promise you we're going to get right back to you. But I know you guys are waiting for the conversation. So let's get started, because the number one question, Gaylon, is, and you already know, what is metaphysics? Everybody wants to know that, right?
Yeah. So metaphysics, when you go to school to learn metaphysics, is a branch of philosophy that deals with the nature of being, okay, the nature of self, ultimate reality. Okay. So my approach to metaphysics is more practical, more of a practical metaphysics. And I look at it from the standpoint of it as being a systematic study of the universal laws and principles. I consider metaphysics a study of how to work with ideas, concepts, thoughts, feelings, and beliefs, and how those mental patterns express and create and generate experiences in life. So, my approach to metaphysics is real down to earth. People call me the hardcore metaphysician because
Yes,
what
they
I
do.
seek to do is to help people apply
Mhm.
universal truth to everyday life. For me, that's metaphysics.
I like that. Galen, one of the things that I really admire and like about you is that you take what people understand as a faith concept
Mhm.
and you construct it to reality in real world situations and applications. And I know for sure when I've talked to you as it relates to things about me and what's going on in my life, people really don't understand. You read, like, honestly, I feel like you've read 1,000 books in a year because you read so much. Like you read 2 or 3 books at one time. So, folks, when he's giving you this perspective, it's just not one view on what metaphysics is about. He literally, and if you watch Real Talk with the Men, he normally does that podcast from home. That bookshelf behind him is his real bookshelf. And all of those books he has read over and over again, quite a few of them he has. And he said that in previous podcasts. But I want people to understand when you talk about metaphysics, can you explain to them how it's really a way for you to guide and understand how you bring that positive energy and you surround yourself with it? And it's
Yeah.
like it's like the laws of attraction. You were telling me, well, Christine, what are you attracting? It's just like, you're right. Let me think about this. So kind of share that with them, when you say metaphysics and how that relates to positive energy and projection and how what you attract when you project certain things.
Well, one of the fundamental things that I teach in metaphysics is what I call radiation and attraction. I believe, and metaphysicians in the past have taught, that we are a mental field. We're spiritual beings, we're mental beings, and we're physical beings. At the mental level, at the level of consciousness, at the level of awareness, we are radiating. What are we radiating? Thought, energy. Thought is a mental vibrational impulse. You ever walk into a room and you feel the vibe? You say, okay, you can say, you can cut the tension in this room as thick as a knife. You feel
Yes.
when energy is warm and inviting. You feel when energy isn't inviting. You know this instinctively because you're picking up the vibration. Well,
Yes.
all of us are a mental field. All of us are consistently radiating our dominant beliefs, our dominant thoughts, our dominant feelings, our context, our paradigm, and that what goes forth from us attracts that which completes it, that which corresponds, that which aligns with our dominant ways of thinking. Now, the challenge is this: the majority of our dominant ways of thinking are subconscious, which means that we are not aware of what we are radiating mentally. We're not aware of what we are sending out before us to prepare a place for us. We're unaware of how what we think is literally creating possibilities and opportunities.
Yes.
What, and I like to use the word consequence, whether that's
Yes.
positive or negative, because we don't necessarily realize that when you see a watermelon seed, it doesn't look like a watermelon.
At the time.
Right. We don't realize how the mental pattern shows up as life experiences. So
Yes.
just like you hold a watermelon seed in your palm, you're like, okay, it doesn't look like the watermelon on a vine. Well, that
Exactly.
mental energy, that thought pattern, those fundamental beliefs, and a belief is just what you accept as true. It doesn't have to be true. Is
Hmm.
the seed of life. That's the core of metaphysics. So what you are holding in consciousness, whether consciously or subconsciously, and most of life is subconscious, will create, generate, and attract situations and circumstances that will correspond with those mental patterns. I'm gonna use give an example.
Okay, great. I was going to ask for one. I was like, can we get an example?
For instance, say a situation happened to you in high school, and you had a negative experience, a inharmonious experience with an individual, right? And then you don't see that person for 20, 25 years. Now, you'll see that person at the movie theater or at the mall or at, a local event. And what generally comes back, not just the image of that person,
but the feelings.
But the feeling, exactly.
Yes.
The feeling of that person hurt me, that person harmed me, etc. Now, you haven't thought about it. It submerged itself in the subconscious mind.
Yes.
But when confronted, it reemerges. All right. Now, here's what's tricky about it. A person, if you have some level of subconscious, and I'm gonna talk about this on a whole podcast later, victimized mindset, I'm a victim.
Yes.
Then your subconscious radiates and will attract.
Because that's the lens you see everything through. You see it through that lens.
Through that lens. You can't see life out.
You can't.
Right, because context is absolute. Your paradigm is absolute. So the way you see life is the way you think life really is. Instead of it just being your mental construct, as we would say back in the day, your own rose-colored glasses.
Exactly.
So you can't see the possibilities that are beyond your scope.
I love that. And listen, guys, before we go to commercial break, I'm going to break it down for you. In my mind, when I walk into a building, I hear theme music. It's my own theme music that I play. And I don't know what's happening, but that's my reality. That's all I got to say, folks. You got to create that positive reality and the imagery for yourself. So that's why I always say you always have to bring your best, because the best is all you got. And guys, we'll be right back after this commercial. Hey guys, welcome back. And if you just joined us, we are opening our first show, and I'm so excited about having Gaylon McDowell on our network. He's just an amazing person. He's an amazing speaker. And if you didn't notice, he's Reverend Gaylon McDowell. So listen, we're going to continue our conversation on metaphysics and how you can apply it to everyday living and relationships in your life. So, Gaylon, when we left, I was talking about when I, in my mind, and again, this is my lens on life, when I get dressed and I go out, I come into events playing my own theme music in my head, right? But the thing is, I've heard from several people, Chris, when you walk into a space, it's like you own it. So in my mind, I'm projecting what I'm hearing in my head, and that confidence I'm projecting to others. So folks, I want you to understand this didn't come overnight, by the way. This came from me having side conversations with Gaylon about my life and what I'm experiencing, and understanding that I had control over changing that imagery, not only for myself, but what others see me. And so that's a great example. And I wanted to share that with them, that if you listen to what he's saying and you apply it, don't steal my theme music though. We're going to keep it real. That's my theme music. I'm not going to tell y'all what it is, but it's my hit. So Gaylon, listen, before we continue, I got to remember, this is new with you having your own podcast. People may know you from Real Talk with the Men. And by the way, guys, you saw the promo for Real Talk with Men. That's tomorrow night. So don't miss it. The conversation with the men is always just amazing. And we have so much fun. So listen, tell people who you are. Like, I boast about you, but who is the Reverend Gaylon McDowell? Other than the fact that you're an author, and I'm so proud of you. But anyways, would you go ahead and tell them who you are?
Okay, well, Gaylon McDowell. I'm a minister, spiritual teacher. I teach practical metaphysics, new thought, metaphysics, biblical mysticism, consciousness transformation, success, life, goals, things of that nature. As far as what I teach, I've been teaching metaphysics now, and new thought, metaphysics in particular, which is a brand of Christian metaphysics, but it's not limited to that, since 1996. So I started rather young. Good black don't crack. And
and you've been a marriage counselor and coach for like, what, 20, 30 years?
20 plus years. Yeah. I've been doing all the work. Yeah. So 20 plus years. Yeah. So
and
all
I'm
the
excited
time I've been teaching,
that.
I've been licensed to do so.
And by the way, ladies, he's kind of still a newlywed. So not only is he talking about relationships, but he applied this through his dating process and men and women. So that's why I want you to listen. This guy was a bachelor known all over the world. And when I tell you, his wife is absolutely a gorgeous person inside and out. I just think she's so adorable. And in her own right, she has her own profession. And she's great at what she does. But let me tell you something. Everything that he talks about, may it be on this podcast, he has another podcast that he does, or on 5 Us to Love, Real Talk with Men. It's really giving people realistic concepts about how to apply metaphysics. Everything that he says is related to metaphysics. He doesn't come out and label it, but he used it through his dating process to find this jewel. And when I say he found a jewel, honey, she found like this amazing light. I call him the light, because he adds the light to life that no one else can do. And I'm just telling you, so you tell your wife, she gets 100% thumbs up because she got the light. And when I tell women, he's totally a rock star. He's a really good person. And he's helped so many men and women understand their relationships and understand themselves individually. So I'm going to get going. They probably said, Christine, you're talking too much. Can you give us an example of how couples can use metaphysics in relationships to better understand their partner? But see how that was a good transition into that question? People probably didn't know where I was going. So Gaylon, tell me, like, how can people apply this metaphysics to relationships?
Well, when you start, I think, first of all, you have to start with one basic premise. The first thing is understanding yourself. You have to have a clear understanding of why you do what you do. What are the mental patterns that are driving you? What are your own blind spots? What are your own dominant beliefs? What are the things that attract your interest, your attention, and what are your expectations? All of those things deal with the realm of mind. So what I'd like to tell people, first of all, is this: there's something radically right about you. And what I mean by that is this: in most religious philosophies and society, whether it's religion or pop culture or society and culture in general, will tell you that there's something wrong with you and that they have the only remedy. What I'm saying is there's something radically right about you, and I'm here, and others like me are here to teach you how to discover it and apply it to your daily lives. So if you're coming from a standpoint of being broken or not, or less than whole, then you're relying on someone else to make you whole. I know that, as a minister, I've said many times, the joining of one to become one. But I don't believe the joining of one means that
I was hoping you would cover that.
Exactly. I believe that 1 plus 1 equals 2 everywhere in the universe. All right.
Everywhere.
So if somebody else decides to leave, guess what? I'm still perfect, whole, and complete. So what I try to help couples understand is, first of all, you have to come into a relationship and to maintain a relationship
Oh,
as a whole person. Okay.
because that saying, two halves, like I'm meeting my evenly yoked partner and two
Yeah.
halves makes a whole. And you said that's not valid. Like you got to
No.
come in as a whole person. The other person doesn't make you complete. Like they
Right.
complete me. The other person. So and keep going what you're saying, but I
Right.
wanted people to
Right.
understand that's the perspective.
Right. So what I use is a different word. I don't use the word complete. I use the word complement.
There we go. I
Okay.
love that.
So people don't complete you, they compliment you. Okay. That if I'm awesome and you're awesome, then how much awesomeness can we create? All right.
Exactly.
You compliment me, not complete me. Now, when people are applying this to the relationships, first of all, they have to be clear about, okay, my own dominant beliefs create not only what I attract, but what I see. All right. So I need to make sure that I am working from a standpoint of understanding my own spiritual wholeness. And I'm going to talk about spirituality because metaphysics and spirituality, they're intertwined.
Yeah.
So understanding your own spiritual wholeness, understanding that as you engage with another individual, that other individual is also a spiritually whole person. And even
Yeah.
if you or that person are magnificently uh uh what's the word I want to use? Arresting
I
or
know what word I was going to use.
interfering with your wholeness, it doesn't change the fact that you're a divine being. And
Exactly.
therefore, that's the first level of engagement. Then there's a statement that, because I want to get real practical now, that's the context.
Okay.
Now, let me get real practical. I live by a statement. Christine, you've heard me say this statement many times.
Yeah.
Emmett Fox, who was a great metaphysical teacher in the 20th century, he wrote, "There's no such thing as undemonstrated understanding." Now, what that means is this: what I understand demonstrates itself. What I understand shows itself. So when I see a breakdown in a relationship when couples come to me, I'm trying to see what is not understood that, if understood, would create a paradigm shift in this relationship.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So what I try to do is help people get behind the behavior. What is the mentality behind the behavior? Because
Right.
something is not understood. And if
Mm-hmm.
understood, can create potential grace in a relationship, can create, oh, I didn't realize this is how I was showing up, and this is how my actions or my lack of action or my words or my body language is showing up and affecting you. What we want to do is create understanding, because when I understand how I am showing up in a situation, I
Yes.
can then ascertain if I'm being positive, constructive, loving, understanding. Am I making wise choices, or I'm being destructive? I use the analogy of Godzilla. When Godzilla is walking through a city, Godzilla can walk through the skyscrapers and not
Yes.
touch them. But Godzilla's tail is wagging. Her tail is wagging.
Hearing of
And it's
everything.
knocking buildings down behind her. Many times we're doing things and we don't realize how destructive our actions are, because we're paying attention to where we're going and what we're doing, and we're not looking at the aftermath of our actions, the consequences of how we move. So what I want people to do with metaphysics is, okay, understand a few basic things. One is this: my thinking is powerful. My thinking is so powerful that not only does it direct my words and actions, it also radiates from me to create the situations and circumstances that will be drawn to me. So in my relationship with an individual, whether it's intimate or family, or co-worker or whatever, what have I drawn and what is my contribution to this experience?
Yes, to that.
That's a key. What have I drawn? Because here's the thing: if you're in my space, out of the 8 billion people on the planet Earth, if you're in my space and I'm in your space, and we decided to date or to cohabitate or to marry, that means we have attracted each other.
Right.
Soup to nuts. All right. That was a choice. Now, why did I make that choice? And why did you show up in my space right now? And what are the lessons that I'm supposed to be getting from this situation? Can I give one more? I want to give one more example, because I know we have a lot of questions to get through. But say, for instance, at a soul level, I believe that we're drawn, situations and people are drawn to us to help us develop our own
Oh yeah.
awareness, our own
Yes.
spiritual, our awareness of our own spiritual wholeness.
Yes.
To do that, that means you have to overcome the things that are going on within your own soul. So,
Yep.
say for instance, a person draws himself into a relationship, and this person that drew this other individual is dealing with a issue of they're very strong in faith, they're very creative, but they lack strength. Strength is patience. Strength is the ability to withstand temptation. Strength is stability of character. They draw this person into their lives, all right?
Yeah.
And this person is testing their patience. That person was the perfect person to help you develop your soul. This person is tempting you to do things outside of what you would normally do.
Your
and a temptation
character
is only a temptation if you want it. Nobody could tempt me with chicken livers and gizzards because I don't eat livers and gizzards. So you can make a buffet of them and it wouldn't tempt me. It's only a temptation if you want.
Don't want chicken gizzards and you don't want that.
Right. Stability of character. Can you maintain the integrity of your character in this situation or circumstance? So that doesn't mean that person came to stay in your life.
Right.
But we draw people into our experiences to help us develop what has been underdeveloped in our souls, because we tend to lean only on our strengths and we try to ignore our weaknesses. But the soul requires balance.
It does. And I'm going to tell you, folks, we got to go to this quick commercial break. And I want to tell you what he's saying is true, because when you want things in your life, you always begin to gravitate what your strengths are in that. But in relationships, we often gravitate towards our weaknesses. And that's what we attract. So you got to think about that. If you're a person who desires to be loved, you attract people who are what? Lonely and need to be loved themselves. And you got two people who are at the same level demanding the same thing, and both of you are what? Empty. So you need to understand what it is that you're looking for. And if you're with someone who does tend to bring out the positive in you, and it is a reach for you, it doesn't mean you walk away from it. You got to figure out, you got to say to yourself, is this an area that I'm weak in? And I have not used those muscles or extended myself to make myself more comfortable at this level. You got to start thinking about that, because I think about it a lot, Gaylon, because sometimes when I look at relationships and people, I think, and we talked about this, people see me in this form publicly, and personally, they have no idea I'm the total opposite. And you try to explain to them that you're attracted to this dynamic personality. I think Christine rocks like all the time. But the person I am when the lights are not on is very quiet, and I read a lot of books, and I'm working in my yard, and I'm doing stuff that's not related to this. So then it's kind of like, okay, who is this person? I was attracted to her. She's still there, but it takes a lot of energy to be that person all day, every day. So I think that's something else that when we get back, folks, what he's going to talk about is how can single people use metaphysics to connect to a potential mate. So once again, you didn't think I was going anywhere with that, folks, but I was. And we'll be right back, guys, right after these messages.
Your body on top of mine and hold me like you'll never let me go. It feels like I've been giving you the best of me and you just keep on letting me down. I can't taste it with your lips on mine that you don't love me like you did that night. I'm so nervous that you'll never feel the same and you'll never find a place in my arms. Hey, show me love, 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 show me love. I'm not asking you for much, just give me something to feel. Show me love, show me love, show me love.
Hey guys, welcome back. You just saw the preview promo for our Friday show, which is with Dr. Rachel Ray. And be sure to watch 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. That's Living Out Loud with Dr. Rachel Ray. Guys, I don't even know what to tell you, but I know for me, I need to know. Honestly, listen, Reverend Gaylon McDowell, I'm single and we talk about me all the time. And you guys clown on me a lot on Real Talk with Men about me being a man in a dress. We talk about that and you always have my back. I'm going to tell you, ladies, he does have my back. And I know my personality can be a bit much, but it's a lot of women out there like me that I don't think we intentionally try to project this, this big persona, but it just kind of comes with what we do. And I think it's hard for men to see through that, to see that we're just a regular, loving, nurturing, caring person, right? So kind of, can you help guide us single ladies? And then we can talk about the men. You look at me. Then we can talk about how to help men. But can we talk to the ladies right now?
Well, my answer for men and women will be the same. So Dr. Maxwell Maltz in the 1950s was a famous plastic surgeon. This is a part of my answer. He was a famous
plastic surgery?
No. You know what I'm saying? He was a famous plastic surgeon who discovered that even after performing surgery, mainly on women, make the nose bigger, smaller, body parts bigger, smaller, etc. Make the face, lift the face up, make it tighter, do whatever he was doing, that he discovered that psychologically, many of these ladies didn't change. In other words, they still saw the person that they used to see in the mirror.
Before the surgery.
Right. So he discovered that it wasn't about the physical characteristics as much as it was about their self-image.
Wow.
Okay. So what I try to tell people when it comes to dating, the first thing you have to have is a healthy, positive, and constructive self-image. Why? Because if not, you can be manipulated.
Okay, ladies, give me 1 second. Everybody get your notepads because it's legitimate. Ladies, get your notepads. Go ahead, Reverend.
Okay, so I teach my students, and as you know, besides all of the stuff, I have multiple podcasts. I'm the executive minister of Christ Universal Temple. I lead the education. I'm the director of the Johnny Coleman Institute. I do a lot of stuff. And I tell all my students, all of my clients that I coach, people all around conferences that I've been all in different countries, one basic thing: expectation is a form of prayer.
Yes.
So your expectation is born out of your self-image. All right. So when you have a self-image that is not healthy, it is almost basically sending out a signal almost like, I don't know, radar or something. I don't know what way to expect. Like, come to me and take advantage of me.
Like a magnet.
Yeah, it's a magnet. That's a better term. It's a magnet for it. So what you want to do is, first of all, create a better self-image. How do you do that? Well, there's a few things. First thing that I would suggest is this. I have people actually, when I counsel people one-on-one that have self-image issues, I go back to basic stuff that people say, oh, this doesn't feel right, but it works. I give them an affirmation and I have them say, go for 40 days, look in the mirror every morning, every evening, say out loud, don't think it, say out loud, look at your own brown eyes or blue eyes and say this affirmation to yourself. Why are you doing it? one of the reasons, one of the things we know from school is repetition is the first
Listen.
level of learning.
Yes.
All right. So what they have to do is you have to speak to yourself, because people who have a negative self-image, they have a program, they have a tape, they have an inner conversation that's happening. No, she would never go out with me. He wouldn't want me. Why would that person want to deal with me? I
Yes.
got, and we come up with our list of excuses about why we can't do a
Why?
thing
Yep.
versus just having the confidence of, I am whole before I met the person. If I ask the person out and they say
Yes.
yes, I'm whole, perfect
Yes.
and complete. If they say
Mhm.
no, I'm perfect, whole, and complete.
Still.
Right. And this isn't something that's theoretical. I can remember as a
Yep.
teenager, because we used to go to these house music parties, being a Chicagoan. They used to have house parties even for teenagers. And
Yep.
one of the things that me and my buddies would do is we would just ask out as many girls as we could, ask for as many numbers. And if they said no, thank you, I appreciate your time. You take care now. Because here's the thing, we weren't diminished by the no. See,
Exactly.
some people say no before they even try. All right.
Yep.
I often tell my daughter, who's 23, don't tell yourself no.
Don't tell yourself.
Okay. So
Mhm.
part of the self-image is believing that you have a right to be
Yes.
where you want to be. You have a right to have the life that you desire. You have a right to work. You got to do the work. I'm not saying you're just going to magically wish and it all happen by
Right.
itself. But so when you're dating, you have to recognize that your confidence, your
Yep.
self-image, the energy that you project or radiate is also a factor in how
It's a
you communicate with people.
Mhm.
Not just because most of our communication is nonverbal. When we open
Yep.
our mouths, my mother used to always say to me, Christine, this is a funny thing. My mother was so cool. She would say to me, baby, a woman is already giving you a chance. You only open, when you open your mouth, you can mess it up. And she would
Say
say
it
that to me
again.
all the
Say
time.
it again. A woman is what?
So a woman is already giving you a chance or a shot or whatever the term she used. She said, but
Shoot.
you can, but she said, actually said, but you can mess it up when you open your mouth. That's
No. Yep.
actually how she said it. And I've
That's
always
true.
remembered that, because it's like, okay, she was basically saying, from a female perspective, women judge very quickly the
They
levels
do.
of engagement before you
Mhm.
ever realize that has actually happened. What you do
Yes.
is mess it up with your words, because you expose yourself, that you disqualify yourself. But see, but
But
that's just
Galen, why do
self-image
people
leaking
do
out.
that?
Well,
Women.
I think it's
So women do a couple things, and I notice my girlfriends are like this. I'm that person. I'll go talk to everyone because I have no expectation. I'm just going out to meet people, to say hello, and hey, my name is Christine. You look great. I love what you have on. Hey, that guy is nice looking. Send him a drink on me, and then I'll be like, but you don't have to come talk to me. You're looking good. That's all I need to let you know. So a lot of my girlfriends are like I can't, like I'm not gonna just walk up on a guy. Why can't he walk up to me and ask me or send me a drink? And I think it's like, are they saying to themselves, like you said, they're already telling themselves no, they're giving themselves the negative outcome before they even approach it? Or women are still in that mindset that a man should come to them? I don't like, I'm very confused by that.
I think it's more the latter. I think that we've been
Okay.
culturally conditioned to especially women, to not necessarily to be passive when it comes to relational dynamics. In other
Okay.
words, if he doesn't say anything to me, if he doesn't come on to me, if he doesn't ask me for my number or whatever, or now, I didn't grow up in the era of sliding to your DMs, but that's the thing now. Uh,
I think
uh,
you.
that's real though. A lot of people hook up through the DM.
They do.
So because I think it's less and less as with the younger generation. I think more the
Okay.
younger women are being more proactive when it comes to what they want and what they
I think
desire.
it's more my generation
Yeah,
and
but
older.
when it comes to generations, I would say maybe 40s up.
Yeah.
In particular, women were taught to wait. The challenge comes into play now is that women are waiting and guys don't know how to engage.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that
That's so
creates its
true.
own other problem completely.
Within
So
itself. Right.
nothing actually happens. When I
Everyone's
was
just sitting there looking and they're standing against walls.
right. Whereas, beforehand, If you wanted to talk to that lady, it was no DM. It was no cell phones, it was no
Right.
texting, Twitter,
You just go
Instagram,
over.
whatever. You had to go out there and get that number, and when you called the number, you
Exactly.
hoped that her daddy didn't pick up the phone. So it was just different energy then. Okay.
Or it wasn't a pager. Remember, we had pagers. We didn't give
Yeah,
out
yeah.
pagers.
So what ladies have to just be mindful of is, okay, am I less than a lady because I went to someone that I'm attracted to and tried to
Right.
engage in conversation? I think anything can be done tactfully. But I think that what's happening unconsciously with men and women is pole position. Who's going to be in the lead? Who's going to have leverage? Who's going to be in control? Instead of showing up authentically as yourself,
Authentic.
not your representative, showing up authentically, showing up, and I want to use this word properly because I think it's people have to earn vulnerability, but
Yeah.
showing up in a way that at least exposes, okay, the person that's showing up isn't phony.
Exactly.
And when you show up confidently, when you show up like you know what you're doing, you know how to dress, you know how to talk, you know how to, engage, and all of those things are together,
Yeah.
then you can properly engage with people and communicate with them properly because the energies will match. Now, here's the
Yeah.
thing. I believe, and I see this more with, honestly, especially because I work on the ministry side,
Yeah.
and I've been doing so again for almost 30 years now.
Years. Yeah.
It's 26 years, 26
Yeah.
years. Yeah,
She was a
26 years.
toddler.
Almost 27 now. I tend to see that many times women will look for what I call fixer-uppers more than men do. In my experience, I'm not saying that that's universal by no
Yeah, we
stretch of the
talk about that.
imagination.
We talk about that. Yeah.
But the fixer-uppers is okay, where they're either attracted to the physical or they look at it like a guy like they're a project manager. Well, if we can just get them dressed up right and we can clean them up and teach them how to talk and get them a job and and he can live with me and all this type of stuff, instead of recognizing that you deserve to have someone show up without those things being an issue.
Yes.
And I'm not saying that you can't see a person's potential. Potential
Right.
and a project are
is
two totally different things. So I would say to single women and men, but single women specifically, is be careful that you're not unconscious fixer-upper.
Yeah.
Okay? Because some people get high with the completion of projects. But what you end up doing is stressing yourself out and giving up a lot of good years, many times, with an individual that was not worthy of your time and attention in the first place. And then if you end up having babies by this person, now you're locked to this person, and sometimes they're trifling behavior for the rest of your life. So be careful. With guys, what I would say is this: a lot of times people don't recognize that women are often approached. I mean, men aren't approached as often as women. So a lot of times people don't realize psychologically.
Are you sure? Nowadays, women are so aggressive.
Most men, women have to say no and have to be protective of their energy 24/7.
Yeah.
Okay. From a male standpoint, there are women who will walk past guys like they're invisible.
Okay. That's true. That's true.
Never in a million years. You can say to some lady, Billy over there that works, he's nice. He goes to work every day. He lives on his own. He has whatever. And outwardly, he has the qualities that some women would say, but they're like, something not right about him.
Exactly.
And it can be just, he's a little goofy. He's behind on the style. He could be whatever. I don't know. My point is, there's a lot of guys that walk around with a lot of stress around how to engage with a lady, how to ask a woman out, how to act when they're dating. And if they haven't had men to help them with that process, or women who pass down the wisdom to how do you engage with women, what will end up happening is they'll stumble and trip over their own feet. And so so let's get back to the metaphysics. So what metaphysics would do with that type of guy would be, okay, yet again, we got to figure out ways to build up your self-image. So we would have small exercises of, I want you to do this every day. I want you to read this every day. I want you to meditate on this every day. I want you to go out and speak to a certain amount of people every day. Just hello, walk up to people, good morning, how you doing, whatever makes you uncomfortable, but this is a part of your
Right.
growth that you have to get past. Because what's actually
that.
happening is the reason why you can't engage the way you want to engage in dating is because you have a mental block.
Yep.
This does not allow you to see possibilities and opportunities. I've been around guys often where I'm like, man, that lady was flirting with you. I didn't know. I mean, she would almost have to hit them upside the head like caveman used to do and drag you by your hair for you to realize that this lady is flirting with you. Some guys don't see it, and they don't want to, because they lack the awareness, because you're blind to what you can't see in consciousness. So what I try to do is help people rise in their awareness, in their consciousness, and get past their own mental blinders so they can see the infinite possibilities of life. So that's the other part. Part of what metaphysics teaches people is there's always more than enough for everybody.
Yes.
Okay? There is no lack in the universe. Lack is a human construct that we've created.
Exactly.
Okay? There's more than an abundance of snow. One seed can create a forest. One seed. All right? We create the situations and circumstances where we withhold distribution of things. But in God's big universe, there is no lack. There's always somebody for you. There's always money to be made. There's always opportunities presented. But the question is, what do you see? That's the real question. All right. Okay, so we have another question that I see that
I'm going to tell you right now, folks, if you didn't understand that, you're going to have to replay this, because what he just gave you was a huge nugget. And I want to be clear that when you're in a situation, and we are often in situations, we never reflect on who are we in that space and what are we attracting or what are we expecting. And like he said, and the other thing is too, I want people to understand, sometimes we idealize or have this image in our mind. And I hear a lot of guys say, oh, she's not my type, and I'm not attracted to her. That's not really my thing. And I remember a guy said to me, he was like, I don't normally go out with women your size. I was like, okay, wait a minute. Then why did you even talk to me? Because it was something about you. So that guy was open to the possibility, although I didn't meet his visual specs. He was like, it was something about you that I like. Now, mind you, I did go out with that guy, and we ended up dating for quite some time and ended up being really good friends, because I wasn't going to get down to a size 8. We're going to keep that real. I don't care how many times you kept me on the treadmill. It just wasn't going to happen. And by the way, I'm not a big person by no means, but I want to be clear. I would almost have to starve myself to stay that size. So, and that's the thing, folks. When you meet someone, it's not being closed-minded. That person did bring something to my life for the time that I spent with them. One of the things that I will say, although when we met, it was kind of like he just was very upfront about, you're not the type of woman I normally date, but it's something about you. That told me, without him realizing, what you were saying. I was projecting so much confidence and positive energy around me that this guy just totally went past all of these skinny women that was potentially his type and gravitated towards me, because I just went in there like, hey, this is me. What's up? What's going on? I had my theme music playing in my mind. I was good to go. But you attract what it is that you put out. And you got to start expecting more so you can get that more. So, folks, when we come back, Gaylon's going to share with you briefly what to expect from this entire platform that he's presenting to you, because every time he comes to you, he's going to come to you on a different perspective about relationships and living a positive life. And I want you guys to understand, regardless of your religion, and a lot of people try to make this a religion thing, it's not about religion. Metaphysics is a concept of thinking what it is that you need or to understand in life in order to get that positive energy or that positive outcome. And the only thing I can say to you is that since I've met Gaylon, everything that I've listened to, and I watch his other podcasts from other services. I'm like a groupie. And even though I know him, I watch them online, because sometimes I need something, and he will send me something in Messenger. He'll text it to me, and he'll be like, Chris, check this out. And when he does that, he's saying something to me that's for me. So I want you guys to be open to that, regardless of your religion. You need to really understand metaphysics is not about religion. It's about you, your personal growth, your inner person. And that's what this is about, folks. You can change your lives by changing the lens that you look at life through. So we'll be right back after these messages. And I'm really excited, Gaylon. You always make me excited when you're on the podcast, though. Be right back, guys.
I've been doing this for 30 years, and I still love what I do. Opening up this salon. Looking forward to all the wonderful, beautiful women that I make feel good after I've done their hair. I have a great team. I have 6 amazing stylists along with 1 esthetician. So if you're looking for a professional environment and professional stylist, Hairshin is your place. We're located at 25284 Evergreen Road, just north of 10 Mile in Southfield, the fabulous downtown Southfield. So give us a call at 248-799-9963. We're looking forward to servicing you.
Oh, I love it, Rodney. Thank you.
Hey guys, welcome back to the 5 F's to Love. And we're talking, I'm going to say we're not talking. I'm actually on his show. I just want to be clear. I'm on Gaylon McDowell's show. So he's sharing with you guys how you can utilize metaphysics in your life. And he's a phenomenal speaker. So I'm going to say, if you're just catching up, you might want to rewind this and watch it again and grab a notebook. Because in this last segment, he's going to give you something to do. He always gives you something to do. And then that way you can see your life transform. So Gaylon, you know, I watch your services, and every time you speak, you always tell people, listen, I need you to do this and read this. Just like you said, look in the mirror, and I need you to say this or do that. So before we move forward, can you go back to what people should be doing when they look in the mirror? What is it that you want them to say to themselves in order for them to start seeing that transformation in their life?
Well, I would say, you know, I give different people different things based upon what I feel the need.
Okay, what would you say to Christine?
What I would say to Christine is,
Everybody else have my own personal section. You're just watching it live.
Right.
Okay, go ahead, Gaylon.
I am a spiritually perfect, whole, and complete being. I am loved because I love myself first. God loves me the way that I am. And I am always expressing the wisdom, love, joy, understanding, power, health, and prosperity of God or infinite or spirit or whatever the term a person likes to use. It will be something similar to that. And the reason why you would say that is because it's building up the self-image. I expect the best.
Right.
I go first class. I attract positive, constructive, and holistic people to me. People bring their best to me. I have success and money-making ideas every day. I am a magnet for divine abundance. Money can't help but find me. Well, you know, I just come up with that. I just get that off the top of my head. So I love that. But these are things that I would
rewind this so I can write down my stuff.
When I was younger, I would walk past the mirror and I would say to myself, if I was a woman, I would like me. That was a statement.
That.
Literally, I would say that to myself every time. I could be in the mall, like whatever. I would look.
Right.
Yeah. If I was a woman, I'd like me. And that was just a part of my swagger, for lack of terms, because I was building up my own confidence. Now, it wasn't phony. I believe it. I believe it. But part of that is it has nothing to do with necessarily outward appearances. I consider myself a handsome person, but I might not be somebody else's cup of tea. But here's the thing.
Right.
If I'm not my cup of tea, then it's really a problem.
It's a problem. You have to like yourself.
Because I'm going to attract, and I have attracted in my own life that which corresponds to my own ways of being, to my own self-image, to my own expectation, to my own self-esteem.
I'm going to tell you, and ladies, just real talk. I don't know what it is about Christine, but I always attract a 6'2" to 6'4" amazingly built men who cook. I don't know what it is about me. Okay, I want to be clear. I'm kind of feeling like I'm practicing this, and you guys are like, Christine is funny, but even in the funny stuff I say, there's a lot of truth. Okay, so guys, listen, we're wrapping up, and I know everybody say, oh my God, the show is over already. When I tell you, you better take note. So Gaylon, before we end this episode, I just want to say, share briefly with the audience what to expect from this podcast about metaphysics and relationship and positive energy, because it's a lot, but you're going to be breaking it down this whole season. And guys, trust me, you guys have up until Thanksgiving. I think it's like Thanksgiving or the week after Thanksgiving. And then in the month of December, we're going to do replays because we're going to go on. Everybody's taking vacations and stuff. So I'm going to say every Wednesday, come with your notebook. So Gaylon, and by the way, I won't be here every Wednesday with them. Sometimes I will, sometimes I won't. But even in these moments, I just want to say I'm rewinding so I can take notes. So Gaylon, tell them what this whole platform is about.
What you can expect is more of a drill down when it comes to how do you practically apply universal laws and principles, and how does your mind work in relation to relationships. So for instance, next week, I'm going to be talking about I mean no one but me. All right. What does that mean? What does it mean to when people say you're always your own experience? You're always the common denominator in your life. You know, I'm going to be talking about your partner's relationship paradigm in another week. In other words, understanding how the mind works, how consciousness works will help you understand how your partner functions, because it's hard to understand how somebody else functions when you don't understand how you function. All right. So you have to understand how consciousness works. And consciousness is awareness of being. And we're going to drill down on what is your partner's relationship paradigm, because they have a context, they have background, they have upbringing, they have traditions, they have culture, they have their own experiences that have created a paradigm just like you have one. We're going to be talking about what do you want in relationships and being clear, and how do you communicate that. We're going to be talking about in another episode, subconscious sabotage, how we sabotage relationships subconsciously because we expect the shoe to fall, so we get out ahead of it subconsciously.
Looking for
talking about victims and victimizers. Why do victims attract victimizers, and why do victimizers attract victims? We're going to be talking about the law of attraction in relationships. We're going to be talking about, is your religion or your religious beliefs helping or hindering your dating life? These are the type of things we're going to be discussing. I'm not trying to change anybody's religious belief.
Right.
Whether you're a Christian, Muslim,
it's just giving some insight.
Atheist, Hindu, Buddhist, whatever.
Yeah.
What I'm trying to talk about is the universal laws that work as a thread through all of the major philosophies and religions and spiritualities of the world. Things like you reap what you sow, you know. So we're going to
believe that.
Yeah, we're going to be dealing with those type of subjects. And in that context, what I hope that you'll be able to do is recognize that you are a complete spiritual being now. But I want to say that there's a difference between being perfect and perfected.
Say that again.
There's a difference between being perfect and perfected.
All right.
You are a spiritual being, perfect, whole, and complete. But you're not just spirit, you're soul and body. Yes. So it is the job of the soul and the body to express the wholeness that's already within you. So perfect does not mean perfected, because some people hear, well, I'm perfect already. They got to accept me just the way I am. No, nobody has to do anything.
They don't.
Okay? Nobody has to do anything. Just like you have choice, they have choice.
Exactly.
And I'm a big believer that everyone should be striving to be a better version of themselves. Because there's always more potential. There's always more possibility. There's always more God or spirit, whatever term to express through the individual. So don't relax. And when you get an individual, definitely don't slack.
Don't slack.
We want to make sure that you have the tools and the techniques that you need to be able to live the successful life that you desire in all aspects of relationships, whether that's intimate, marriage, dating, family, friends, children, whatever. And sometimes that also means when it's time to stay, when it's time to go, when it's time to engage, when it's time to step away, when it's time to give people freedom, when it's time to, as my grandmother would say to me, love people with a long handled spoon, which means from a distance. All of those things are going to be a part of this particular podcast. I just, I'm gonna do my other metaphysical and spiritual things on my other podcast, Truth Transforms. So on here, we're going to zero in on what you need to do to be the best version of you, so you can be blessed with the best version of other people in your life. All right, because iron sharpens iron.
I knew he was going to say that. And I'm going to say, guys, Gaylon, thank you so much. I can't say thank you enough. And I just want to say to all the viewers out there, Gaylon and I met actually at Unity here in Michigan. And I walked up to him. I had never met him before. And my attitude was, you need me and something about to happen, but you're going to need me to help you, because this is what's happening. And that's what I did. I just confidently walked up to him. And it was so funny because when he called me, he was just like, well, you know what? I do have some stuff I'm working on. So this is kind of funny that you approach me. But the thing is that when I met him and I saw him speak for the first time, I saw something in him. And the only thing I could say was I wanted to use whatever skill set I had to really kind of support where he wanted to go. And that's why I'm so extremely proud of him, because over the years, we've gone from just having a business relationship to him being a friend that I can pick up and just say, hey, this is what's going on in my personal life. I'm kind of feeling a little weight. Can you tell me what I need to do to kind of transition past this? And he's been really great. A lot of you don't know this because I don't talk about him a lot. He's been really great for my son. And I just want to say he's truly a good person. So on this podcast, he will be talking about relationships and metaphysics, but we're also going to show commercials about his other podcast called Truth Transform. We're going to be giving you guys links on all of our social media sites when he sends them to me, places that he speaks, and he wants you to hear the message. Because I'm going to tell you, if you listen to what he says, and I'm going to be totally 100% honest with you, I would not be in the space that I'm in right now if it wasn't for this man right here. He has no idea how much I listen to what he says, what he doesn't say to me, all of his previously recorded shows. When I tell you my business has grown, I have grown as a person. I've grown as a parent. I've grown in my, in my inner space, because I wake up every day with my I am statements. They're sticky notes around my mirror with things that I say to myself every day. I listen to him. So I'm going to say, take your notes and you listen, because he has transformed my life. So when you guys think I walk in with confidence like I own a room, trust me, is this guy reinforcing me every day that I am who I think I am. And the only way you're going to see the true me is if I present it to you every day in everything that I do. So listen to him. We will see you guys next week. And I'm going to be honest with you, I may end up being on the show with them sometimes, because I just like hanging out with Gaylon. I'm going to be honest with you. But he will have guests, and it won't always be me. Sometimes we produce the show. But Gaylon, welcome to the 5S to Love Network. I really appreciate and love your brilliance. Guys, he has a book coming out. He's got a conference he's going to be launching next year. So when we start promoting that stuff, y'all better jump on it. We might even have our virtual book release. You know what I'm saying? Because we got to get, when I tell you he's got nuggets that you guys have not even heard. And by the way, he loves Kung Fu. So he does those Kung Fu references. It's like karate Kung Fu. Just know that he does it. So that's why he's referencing. Gaylon, we'll see you next week. And thank you so much for coming on to the network. And I had a great time today. And guys, let me tell you something. We'll see you tomorrow. Real Talk with the Men. And that's all I got to say. You got to watch it. And you know Gaylon's going to be there. He's always the voice of reason. But you got to watch. It's going to be both of fun. And thanks, everybody, for joining us for another episode here on our network 5F's to Love. Have a great night, and we'll catch up with you guys tomorrow, 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. every night on the 5F's to Love network.
My name is Christine Burkett, the inventor of the 5F's to Love. This is a compatibility app. It's an app that gives you an opportunity to rate words that start with the letter F in chronological order of importance to you, to help you find your one true love, your soulmate, and the person you're going to spend the rest of your life with. So after you've taken the time to rate your F's in chronological order, you send a link to the person, you just met, or the person you've been dating for quite some time. Or maybe it's the person you've been married to for 30 to 40 to 50 years. And then you compare your top 5 F's to find out what things you have in common and things that you may perhaps need to work on. This is taking a simplistic perspective on how to find your one true love, your soulmate, the person you're going to